Hello and welcome to the Rankers podcast, where we literally rank anything and everything. Just two best friends ranking it up. No categories, no genres. My name is Nick.
My name is Jacob. Let's rank them.
Let's rank them. What's up, man? Got a little bit of a different scenery going on today.
Yeah. What's up, dude? We are in I'm in a little bit of a different spot, and the main reason is because of our guest, which if you clicked on the episode and you don't know who this is, I'll get to that in a second. But if you clicked on the episode and you do know who this is, then you know that you are in for a legendary Rankers episode.
In for a treat.
So I am actually at my in-laws' house.
Heck yeah.
Because the Rankers guest today is my father-in-law, Mr. Matt McRee. Matt, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hello, Rankers family. It is a honor and privilege to be with you this evening.
Let's go.
I have been waiting on this for 2 years, and I finally got the call.
Man, I don't know why it's taken so long. I didn't have your number. I can't say it's my fault, but so Matt, why don't you tell us what we're going to be ranking today and why you feel like this podcast is for you?
So, of all the categories I think I've listened to in the history of the Rankers, I can't think of a better category than this one for me personally, and that is our favorite green things.
Yeah.
Green things. And I got a lot of connection to green in my life. And as we go through it,
I don't know if I want to dig deeper into that.
I mean, honestly, I'm so confident in my top five.
That's
but
awesome.
There's so many others I could have included, and I'm looking forward to talking about honorable mentions as much as the top five. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh shoot, I don't think I put a lot of honorable mentions in mine. I'm excited for that though.
This totally is not what he meant, but what a cool way to say that you're rich. I have so many connections to green in my life. Like, you have no idea.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
So that's exactly what we're doing today. This is an interesting pod. So today, if you are listening on the day that you're listening to this episode, it is St. Patrick's Day. So it's March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're recording a little bit earlier than that. But we thought that it would be a fun idea in honor. We like to try to, go with the holidays and stuff. It's fun that way. And so in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we were like, what about some green episodes? What could we do? And we were like, let's just do anything, anything green.
Because we originally talked about just doing like top characters, and then we were like, well, what if it just has like the name green in it? And we were like, yo, let's just do that then.
Yeah.
So that's the criteria. There really isn't much of one.
Yeah, this is in a lot of ways our most like kind of just loose episode, which I couldn't think of a better guest.
I hope it's open-ended. No, I did not. All my categories do not have the word green in them.
But they have something to do with green.
They're green. Oh, they're definitely green. Solid green.
Let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We just need to go ahead and dive in. So again, there's not really any criteria. We just thought it'd be fun to, if it has the name green in it, if it's green itself, if it has something to do with the color green or whatever it is.
Yeah, we just said all that.
Top five. Okay, you're right. Thanks for keeping me in line.
I got you, man.
All right. Well, Matt, one of the things we always do is we let our guests go first.
Absolutely.
So why don't you hit us with your number five?
Okay. All right. So to put my list together, I identified what I thought my top maybe 7, 8, 10 green things were, and then I narrowed them down. And then what I did is I picked basically my favorite green thing from certain categories, and that's what made my top five.
Nice.
So,
awesome.
So I'm kicking it off. My first one, I'm going with the food category.
Let's go.
There's lots of food.
My favorite category.
I was looking at some of the green foods that could be chosen, and I'll honestly say this particular one is not on the healthiest list of green foods. But my number 5 is Clausen pickles. These things are off the charts. You get them out of the refrigerator. You buy them cold. You eat them cold. They got lots of sodium. They're just a hit. So I love me some Clausen pickles. There's other foods,
nice.
but Clausen pickles is number 5.
I don't think what. So like
I
Is
just
that
want to
like a
jump in
certain brand of pickles?
just really quick before we move forward. I just want to jump in and say that my number 5 is also pickles. No lie.
Oh no.
That's legitimate. I did not have specifically Clausen on there, but Clausen is a brand of pickles. Yeah. And if I were to have a brand, I didn't put Clausen on there because to me there is no other brand. Clausen is the elite pickle brand. And that just shows the family connection between me and my father-in-law that we both had pickles at
trying to get
5.
some brownie points over there. What's going on?
That's impressive. I'm impressed. That is a good start.
But I did something similar as well, and I'll go ahead and say just because it was my pick as well, so we'll pass it on to you, Nick, to do yours. But I'll just go ahead and say just 2 main things. I also kind of categorized mine, but though I tried to do that, there's one category in particular that did get a couple of picks for me, because if you know me, it's just my personality is going to come out in my list. So I'll get to that when I get there, but I did want to have a food one, and most green foods are vegetables. Yeah. So there's not a lot of green foods to choose from. But and the second thing I wanted to say is that I'll just go ahead and spoil it. I did not put money in my top 5 as one of my, that was like a big like green thing or whatever. I thought that was too easy. So I didn't use money on mine.
I also did not do that. So
did you have money?
I did not do money.
And he doesn't need to say
I am not rich. I don't mind having a little money, but that's not the main thing.
Not a lot of connections to the greens for this guy. So both of our number 5s were
pickles.
Was pickles. So Nick, why don't you hit us?
I can't wait to hear both of y'all's number 4s, but I'll go ahead and get into my number 5. So this actually is one on the list that had the name green in it. And you guys probably should know who this one is, but I'm pretty excited for it. It is a singer-songwriter who is a contemporary Christian artist named Keith Green. He was popular from like 60s to the 80s, but honestly, like whenever I listen to older Christian music, I go back and I listen to like Keith Green stuff. But he was like one of those people who like literally started out young at a young age, who was just like an incredible musician. Do you guys know who he is now?
I don't, but now I went and saw the Jesus Revolution movie. And a great movie, by the way. But one of the topics they hit on is like the birth of contemporary Christian music.
Yes.
And so Love Song was a band. I don't know if he was in that band, but
he had a lot to do with that era. So like, if they were modeling, like that movie was modeling after what Keith Green did. He was that guy who did that. Like I think in that movie they start to like form big groups and have Bible studies. I haven't seen the movie, just the trailer, but like that's literally what he actually did. Like in like the early 70s, he like lived in San Francisco, and they called it the Greenhouse, and they started just having like huge Bible studies and groups, and people would come and worship, and it was just like this huge hippie thing, but it like had nothing to do with drug, sex, and money. It was all about Jesus.
That's right. That's pretty much the theme of the movie. And
And
the part of the music was sort of exactly that. It was basically breaking into that generation, breaking into a different crowd, to witness the gospel to them. So
that's what's up. Yeah, I've been wanting to go see the movie. But literally, just side note about the guy, he had written like over 50 songs by the time he was 12, and like a lot of those songs were like actually like played and produced and sang. Like, and this guy was 12 years old, and he was signed when he was 11, like to a recording company.
See, and we don't even like I don't know who that is, and so, but what's so interesting is contemporary Christian music is such a big part of my life. It's a part of my job. It's like a huge part of my everyday life. And
so now
I had no idea that guys, but there's guys like that like paved the way for what it is today, you know, and like I feel like I'm standing on the back of this guy that I don't even know.
I will say, like,
you may have sung songs that he wrote and you just don't even know.
Maybe. Yeah. I will say a lot of his songs aren't like super popular in today, because like he was like obviously past the point of like where hymns were like the hymn book had already been created and being used for years and years and years by the time, you know, he came around. So he was still considered modern contemporary, but he wasn't like writing new stuff either. You know, he didn't have the ambient music going yet.
Right.
So, but
That's
yeah,
a good
Keith
pick.
Green,
Solid.
number 5.
I like it. All right. We're back to Matt now for number 4.
All right. So my number 4, I'm jumping into the movie character genre.
Let's go.
And of course, there's several options I could have gone with, but there's only one that I really could choose, and that is the Grinch, the Jim Carrey Grinch, the creme de la creme.
Nice.
So,
can you do it? Can you give us 10 seconds of your Grinch?
I don't know if
I need both of you guys to have a mic.
What is that deal?
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, Jim Carrey, the Grinch, his character, the personality, his humor. It's and I have been known to imitate him over the years. So
I'm gonna need
for
some
me
more
personally,
of
the Grinch is probably the character, and he gets my number 4.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I just have to, he's not going to talk himself up, so I'll do it. But so Matt actually like semi-professionally does a Grinch impersonation every Christmas, and he's actually been doing it longer than I've been alive, pretty much. Actually, he has been doing it longer than I've been alive. But every year he dresses up as the Grinch, and he does the whole entire get up. And I will say, we live in a small town, but a lot of the kids who grew up here, they think that Jim Carrey, the movie, was made after Matt, is what they think, because he's been around doing it for so long.
Oh, man.
People like, companies and stuff have paid him to do it. So he does a pretty good Grinch. I won't lie. I may have to post a little something on the Instagram.
I feel like I've seen an Instagram video of you at some point this winter of him.
Maddie's posted over the years, so there's a few videos out
I
there.
think I've seen that before. That's impressive. That's awesome.
He's got a mean Grinch.
Professional would be the right description. No.
Awesome. His Grinch is really good. I'm not surprised that that's on your list at all. But I'm gonna jump right in with my number 4, also being in the character realm, which I'm just gonna be honest, that's gonna be the recurring theme in my list, just because if you've been listening, I just love movies, and I love pop culture and stuff like that.
Can't wait to hear Yoda on your list.
Oh man, don't. Where's Luke Richter when you need him? Speaking of Luke Richter, I just have to do this really quick. At your wedding, so shout out. This is the first podcast we've recorded since Nick has been married.
Fam, I got married. Let's
go. So let's freaking go. But at your wedding, Nick, I was talking to Luke, and Ranker Fam, this is for you. I said, Luke, do you regret not having Han Solo in your top 10 Star Wars characters? And he was like, no regrets.
That's exactly
and I was like,
how he would
you're a
answer
liar,
something.
Luke. I know for sure that you regret not having him in your top 10.
That sounds exactly like Luke Richter.
That was a fun conversation. But I'm going to jump in.
That was a Ranker podcast unite there, man.
It was.
I remember that, and I remember that has come up several times, the absence of that particular character.
This is a big hot take for sure. But my number 4 will not be a surprise at all if you know me. These characters are really, really have been a big part of my life for as long as I can remember. My number 4 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Let's go.
And so I think I cheated a little bit when we did our top 10 cartoon characters pod, because I put them in my list, but I think somebody corrected me and let me know that the Ninja Turtles were actually like a comic before they were a cartoon. And so I technically was incorrect, but the Ninja Turtles probably will make more lists like in the future.
I think I had them on my list too, though.
I was wrong, I guess. But I remember growing up, the original thing that I saw was the cartoon. But anyway, all that to say, number 4 for me is the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles were such a big part of my childhood. I just would swap back and forth between Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. That's all I would do. I would go back and forth, and I loved like any kind of fighting, thing. So like fighting crime. And I think I said this on the cartoon pod, but if you know me, I'm a big superhero fan. Well, Ninja Turtles were superheroes to me before I discovered superheroes, if that makes sense. So like before I really got into Spider-Man and Superman and Batman and all of those characters, it was Ninja Turtles for me. And so they are green, obviously, because they are turtles.
They are turtles.
So it they were one of my first thoughts when we were thinking about this list. And so that's number 4 for me.
That's a great pick. Do you have a favorite Ninja Turtle?
Michelangelo.
Mm.
Always. He's always been my favorite. I love each of them in their own different ways and everything.
Yeah.
But Michelangelo he was the one that was laughing the most and always wanted pizza. I just always related to him.
That's the only thing I can remember about Michelangelo's pizza.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
the aim. But that's my number 4. What about you?
That's a good pick. So my number 4 is probably almost as basic as you can get when it comes to eating something that's green. But it's true, and it's very true, because for some reason we just did we did Thanksgiving podcast, and so we were talking about food and whatnot. And for some reason, green beans have just been on my mind a lot lately. And so that's number 4 for me. Because I know I popped off about talking about the green bean casserole, and man, I want to pop off about it again right now, because it is like one of my favorite Thanksgiving dishes. Not giving away that list, but that might anyways. But why is it only a Thanksgiving dish? Green bean casserole needs to be brought around like all year long. I don't know. We need to bring that bad boy out more often. But green beans is number 4 for me. When it comes to eating greens, vegetables, right? It's one of my favorites, and it's got to come in casserole. It's got to come in the casserole form. But green beans are number 4.
Ranker fam, go listen to the Thanksgiving episode. And I think I had to cut like 45 minutes out of that episode because Nick talked that long about green bean casserole. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But he was very passionate about green bean casserole. And you guys know that Nick gets on his soapboxes about different things. But so far, we've gotten Keith Green and green beans from Nick in this top 5 box. So I'm excited.
It's got a variety list.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear about what's next. But let's keep it rolling.
What else can we say about green beans?
Hey, I think green beans are a great choice.
Thank you.
My personal favorite vegetable didn't make my top 5, but if I was going to put a vegetable, a real healthy vegetable, green beans. I eat green beans probably 2 or 3 times a week if I can. Jeez. All the time. I'm a big green bean fan.
Money speaks.
Oh yeah, if we open a can of vegetables, there's green beans. All right, so
that's what's up.
We're number 3, right? Number 3. So this category, I'm getting into the things that might mean a little bit more. You know, the pickles were good. The Grinch is classic. All right. But this particular choice is something that impacts everybody, and I chose it because it's something that lasts from childhood until basically you pass on. And it's something that is an integral part of so many people's lives, and that is the Christmas tree. A green Christmas tree. When I think of my favorite things, I'm whittling it down to the things that are green that to me are just it's fun, it's tradition, it's something you look forward to getting out every year. Of course, you look forward to putting it up too after a while, but it's just a lot of great memories. Our particular Christmas tree, we've collected ornaments basically since we got married. We almost buy an ornament every year, so our tree is filled with ornaments from places we visited, ornaments that our kids have made, ornaments that just have meaning, and some just look pretty. But there's a pickle ornament too, for good luck. Hey, so it's a great way to, it's just a great way to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah. Did you guys play the pickle game where like you hid the pickle ornament like on the tree and you had to find it? Okay.
Yeah, we did that for a few years.
Yeah, we did that too. That's a great pick. I feel like I didn't think you could really get, emotional on this green pick, but that one, man, that had such like measures to it. It was so great.
I just have to say that I have not made the McRee family Christmas tree yet as an ornament for whatever reason.
Well,
I don't think that I'm on there. My wife is on there, obviously, which I get that, but I haven't made it.
When you say made, you mean like a photo of yourself on
There's
the
like
tree?
nothing that is specific to me on y'all's Christmas tree.
Oh, well, we've got a Steve ornament from Stranger Things. I mean, that's the closest thing we've got.
That's
and
true.
He's got a pickle one on there too.
They do.
Yeah, we got a pickle one. Yeah.
So I am not even lying when I tell you that we did not confer at all.
Oh, you about to say Christmas tree?
My number 3 is Christmas tree.
No way. You guys have had, ladies and gentlemen, Raker fam, it is anything green, and these two have chose 2 out of 3 so far the same. Wow.
Yes. I can't. That was like, Nick, I think I brought this up before, but it always is. It was just one of the most wild things when we did the cartoon pod and we both had Donkey from Shrek in the same exact number spot 7 in the top 10. Anyway, so yeah, my number 3 is Christmas tree. I won't say a lot because I think Matt nailed a lot of it.
Yeah, I cried a little bit.
Christmas tree.
It's a very sentimental pick.
I can't speak it better than Kevin, which is from Home Alone, which go listen to our top 10 favorite movies, Christmas movies episode. I'm very high on Home Alone. Christmas just isn't Christmas without a Christmas tree. But it is really funny. There's a really funny Seinfeld bit where Jerry Seinfeld is talking about a Christmas tree, and he's saying it's really funny how leading up to Christmas, there's the Christmas tree is this huge thing. Everybody gathers around it. But like the day after Christmas, everybody starts freaking out. They're like, we have a tree in the house. Why is there a tree in the house? Get it outside. People are throwing it on the side of the roads, burning it. Anyway, but I love Christmas trees. That's the first thing that, me and my wife have only been in our home for 2 Christmases, but both times we've decorated, that's the first thing that we put up. We have an artificial tree. It's a hand-me-down tree from you guys, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's the first thing we put up because once I put the Christmas tree up, it's like, okay, this is it. Christmas, like Christmas is here. And it's huge. It's fantastic. It's such a great icon.
That's awesome. Since COVID, people put their trees up. I mean, it used to be you definitely had to wait till after Thanksgiving to put the tree up. And I think in the last few years, especially after COVID, people are kind of pushing the schedule a little bit on putting their tree up. But
November 1st for me, my peeps.
Really?
That's when Christmas starts for me.
So a public service announcement for the fire department. Make sure you keep a live tree watered well. It's one of the most dangerous things you can put in your house, if not properly protected. So be careful if you put your live tree up.
So you did
fireman
say,
Matt.
Not to keep talking about Christmas trees, but why not? You did say that you get down your Christmas tree every year. So does that mean that you prefer the artificial tree as opposed to going and getting a real tree?
We've done a real tree maybe 2 years in the whole time we've been married. It was interesting. We bought our first artificial tree when we were living in Hawaii. I was stationed in the Army out there. We bought it at Sears. That dates it.
Yeah.
And we kept that tree probably for over 20 years, maybe 25 years.
That's awesome.
And that's not the one we have, is it?
No. It just it kept
I'm surprised it's not.
The green just kept falling out and it got thin. And then Krista, my wife, was like, we got to get a pre-lit tree. So because she's the one that gets to string the lights every year.
That makes sense.
But we finally retired that tree and then got a pre-lit tree. But I remember one year we were like, we're going to get our live tree for the kids to enjoy.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but it by Christmas it was pretty much in the floor.
A lot of work.
It's hard. It's hard upkeep. A live Christmas tree.
Yeah,
I've never even tried it. I just remember my parents growing up. It takes a lot of work. But anyway, enough about Christmas trees.
I love a Christmas tree though.
So one more.
A fir tree, a real fir tree. Nothing compares to that when you first get one.
So when do you guys take down your Christmas tree?
We take it down usually the day after New Year's.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to buy that's why I buy the scented fir smell, so I don't have to have a real Christmas tree in my home. But anyway, Nick.
So what do you guys like at the top of your Christmas tree? Like, are we talking like angel?
No, he's trying to get us to keep talking about Christmas trees.
No, I love it.
Nick, why don't you hit us with your number 3, bro?
Dude, so you've had some commonalities with your father-in-law over there, but you finally have one with me on this list. My number 3 is Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
hey, yes, let's go.
I did throw in here that because I grew up watching animated like you did, and so I assume that there's always seems to be comics with superheroes and whatnot. So how I date and remember Ninja Turtles and still watch sometimes here and there is like kind of the early 2000s Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
One of my favorites that like I used to watch all the time was the TMNT that came out in 2007. That one was one of my favorites. And then I asked you who your favorite Ninja Turtle was, because I went ahead and put mine down. And mine was actually Raphael.
Dang it, dude. I was gonna guess Donatello. For some reason,
Really?
you just seemed like a Donatello guy.
I'm
just imagining little Nick with glasses and him like relating to the only Ninja Turtle that also has glasses.
You think I was like dorky or something?
He's like, that's me.
Nah, I never was that.
No,
Growing
you like
up,
the angsty one.
I never was like, getting in the, because he was more like the computer type.
Yeah,
like,
he's the tech one. He's the tech
yeah,
one.
yeah, that never was me growing up. So glasses came into the picture recently.
Okay, my bad.
But Raphael was like kind of the middle child. He was just kind of there. It felt like kind of a little bit rebellious, but like I think I liked him the most because he kind of had the double sword, and like for some reason, like as a young guy, I was like, whoa, he's got like 2 knives.
Yeah, the
so cool.
size, I think, is what they're called. Yeah.
Yeah. What, I don't know the official name, but
I always called them knives growing up.
yeah.
Knives
I
that you
said
could
swords,
put
I mean knives.
your hand thing or whatever.
I always thought those things were like the coolest things ever, so he ended up being my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, number 3 was Ninja Turtles for me. So let's go.
That's such a great pick. And you mentioned TMNT, which might be as far as like did you watch the live action, those 3 movies, the 90s movies that were, I will say they're bad, but those were classic for me. Like that was right around the time, because 2007, I was around 6 or 7, but I remember even growing up and watching them and stuff. And I was born in 99, so it's easy for me to keep up with my age. But
I was a little bit older than you, not much.
You are a little bit older. But I think old McRee's got us on a few years.
Yeah, he might.
I only know Kermit the Frog. I'm not familiar with Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Oh man,
so
is that your number 2?
I think I remember Jack watching them a little bit, and I knew a lot of the shows, but I don't know if I ever watched a lot of Ninja Turtles. I'm familiar with them, but
so if you haven't done the math, Ranker fam, Jack McRee from our top 10 movies episodes, this is his dad. If you haven't figured that out, shout out to Jack McRee, because I know he's for sure listening to this episode.
I think I froze for a second. Sorry about that.
You did freeze. That's okay. Well, I'll cut it back or whatever. But
I wasn't
Matt,
saying anything anyways.
Matt, why don't you hit us with your number 2?
Okay, my number 2 is epic. So I started getting into I started thinking about sports and venues and the iconic venues. And, I thought about like Wrigley Field came to mind. Baseball, in the spring, you can't beat that. And I was thinking Wrigley Field just because it's classic. Obviously, there's a lot of nice baseball fields.
You're not putting the
Fenway Park. No, I'm not putting baseball in there.
I know what you're
and then I thought, well, you got teams like the Boston Celtics. I actually kind of put them on the list and considered them. But my number 2 flushed out to be, honestly, it's when you walk into this place, it's a spiritual journey if you've never been in there. But it is Augusta National Golf Club during the Masters. And I will say the actual golf course itself.
We get it.
Now, yeah, when you go into that place, you do feel a lot of money around you. But actually, beside that, the place is incredible. So a little history for those who may not know about Augusta National Golf Club. It was built in 1934, or started in 1934. Bobby Jones, who won the Grand Slam of golf in 1930, considered still maybe the greatest golfer that played, not in the history in terms of tournament wins, but at the time, incredible, and retired and early. But anyway, they built a beautiful golf course, actually in a nursery. It was originally a nursery, but when you walk into this place, and I've had the privilege and the blessing to be able to go in there a few times, a couple of times during practice rounds, and actually went in, I think it was 2015 when Jordan Spieth won his Masters. I was there. But when you walk into Augusta National, it really is sort of like walking into heaven, like if Jesus was going to make a golf course, or you're going to get a little glimpse. I remember the first time walking in there, because when you walk in, I'm not kidding, everything is perfect grass, perfect pine straw, beautiful pine trees, beautiful hardwood trees, beautiful azaleas, and that's what you see. White sand. It's an incredible place while they have that tournament. There's a lot of tradition that goes with it too, with the tournament itself. So it's a classic venue. But when I think of spring, when I think of just iconic venues and something that I just look forward to every year, it's the Masters at Augusta National Golf Club.
That's super awesome. I think that's my favorite pick so far. But I grew up playing a little bit of golf. I followed it for a while. Not so much lately, but I love that pick, and I would absolutely love to have the opportunity to go there. I went to one in Atlanta. I can't remember what it was called, but that was kind of my first taste of going to a golf tournament, and I've wanted to taste it again ever since. So I can't imagine what that was like. So that's really cool.
You go to Augusta on Tuesday. There's more energy and excitement on a Tuesday than there is at a Sunday at a regular golf tournament. It's just an incredible.
I believe it.
It's an incredible place, and really, if you get to go to a practice round, that's really the best time to go, because that's when you can see the players the most. They have fun. It's just a great atmosphere. So incredible.
That's cool.
The Masters Augusta was the only pick on his list that I knew for sure was going to be on there. Matt's a big golf guy, but I think Augusta, that's one of those things. I've talked to people who don't even like golf, don't even watch it, but it's like a bucket list item. Augusta is that big of a deal, and Georgia doesn't have a lot of stuff. I mean, we have some stuff as a state, but we're not one of the most we have the biggest airport, and we have Peaches or whatever, but that is one thing that we have that is awesome. We have, probably the best, second best, if not the best golf course in the world.
We have the greatest college football team in the
world.
Oh,
okay. So. Yeah, right. I forgot about that. My bad.
Yeah, okay. Keep going.
That's a great pick. All right, I'm going to get to my number 2 here.
Do it.
And again, I took a little break with the Christmas tree, but we're back into the theme. This character comes from I'm going all the way back to one of our first 4 episodes of the pod, the Pixar movies episode, to bring up this iconic character voiced by this iconic comedian. My number 2 is Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc.
Nice. I thought about adding him to my list.
If you go back, I'm going to spoil it. Sorry for those who haven't listened, but I am very, very big on Monsters, Inc. Not only as a Pixar movie, but just as a animated movie in general. I think it's one of the best. I think it's a really cool idea. But I think what Disney and Pixar were able to do, which, they're just really good at making movies, but what they were able to do was bring just this level of comedy that was a little bit different. There's some animated movies that slip adult humor in there just to keep the parents along, but this movie doesn't really only do that. It's humor that's not specific towards kids or adults. It's just funny. It's just funny stuff. The fact that I can say that Billy Crystal is a hilariously comedic in a physical way, and he's literally voicing a cartoon character. The stuff that he's shaped like an apple, and he just runs around, and he's got those long arms and legs, and he's so funny. He's so funny. I think that he should be used more. I hate that we only got 2 movies with him, but Mike Wazowski is a big character for me, and that's why, as far as green things, he's up high on the list.
No, that's great. Literally, I mean, as soon as I thought about this podcast, I'm pretty sure he's probably one of the most well-known green characters outside of Shrek or Hulk, but he's right up there. And so that's a great pick. I thought about adding them onto mine, but I don't know, I couldn't do it.
Right. The laugh floor is actually my favorite attraction at Walt Disney World.
Really?
It's the hidden gem. A lot of people don't even know it's there. They walk past it all the time. But it never disappoints. I love going to the laugh floor.
So in the laugh floor, they get like crowd participants every once in a while, and you've been chosen for that before, haven't you? No, you never.
I have not done that. I want to. I want to be. What they do is it's like technically interactive. So it's the cartoon on the screen, but then they engage the audience, and so it's pretty. It's well done, but it's always funny and always a little different, which is why it's fun to go back all the time.
So this is like a rider experience at Disney?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the best thing about the laugh floor too? It's hot at Disney. You want a little AC? The laugh floor's got some good AC, but it is really cool if you've never been to the laugh floor because you think it's like just for little kids or you think it's not gonna be dumb, but you're a Disney fan. Yeah. Go to the laugh floor. It's awesome. It's in Magic Kingdom and the what's the
future world?
Yeah,
in Future World,
the futuristic part of
Buzz Lightyear.
Ooh, also a good ride.
Also another.
Love Buzz Lightyear. Love. All right, let's hear your number 2, Nick.
All right, my number 2. I don't even know if this is 100% applicable, but it's going to be because I also was thinking of like logos in a sense that like that place or that logo by it being green. And for me, this was also one that just popped right into my head when thinking about anything green, and it is Xbox. Xbox logo is green, and I love to game. I love to play my Xbox. And so like I literally have my original box like that my Xbox came in, and it's just a bright green thing, and it's just like it attracts me. I was like, I have to put it on my list. This big bright green box. But anyway, so my Xbox is making my list here at number 2. It's just the gaming system that I own, obviously, and I started out on Xbox back in the day when a friend gave me one, which was very kind of him. I'm actually more of an Apple guy, but Xbox is through Microsoft. So like this is the one thing that I'm for Microsoft with on the Xbox. But I will save a lot of what I want to say about Xbox in another podcast.
I was just about, it's actually going to be the next episode. We'll tease it at the end.
Okay, sweet.
But yeah, save your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to save my thoughts about Xbox, but just be focusing on what their like color is through Xbox is green.
I thought you already
I'll
did
stop
that.
there.
I already thought y'all did that episode. I was going to say that was one of the episodes that I didn't watch or didn't listen to, but no, apparently I haven't listened to it because you haven't done it yet.
It's coming up. It's coming.
No, we have not done it yet. All right. Yeah. So great pick. So guys, before we get to our number 1, as always, we want to remind the fam, if you haven't already, to please follow us on Instagram. That is where we are the most active, and we like to communicate with you guys the most. We recently did a poll of our, I don't know if you saw it, Nick, but our TV show couples, I polled and
I did.
Let the fam vote on who was better between Jim and Pam and Ross and Rachel. And unfortunately, Jim and Pam came out on top. But that's...
I might have helped that vote.
Yeah, I think my wife helped that vote too, which I was a little bit salty about. But anyway, we're pretty active on the Instagram with new episodes that come out, teasing, just kind of like different videos, but also we like to communicate with you guys there. So please follow us there. If you want to just stay up to date on our episodes through Twitter, you can follow us there as well. And if you want to watch our episodes, you can go and subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually see our faces. Those episodes are unedited, so you might get a little bit of the a little bit longer space or a couple,
a little bit more banter,
glitches and banter and stuff, but you will get to see us and stuff. And last but definitely not least, actually the most important, is that you please rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening to us on, because that helps us get the podcast from here to there. And so it helps us get more listeners and spread out the pod as much as we can. But plugs out of the way. Matt, let's hear your number 1.
Well, when's the next Rankers pick? Have y'all identified that? Because I listened to the Cars one, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
So we have a couple on the list that we have in mind. So there could be one coming soon. But I think we should probably do a fresh start and just go ahead and ask again what the Ranker fam wants us to do next. So another big reason to go and follow us, because we'll do that on Instagram. So go follow us on Instagram and give us a suggestion. And if you don't know, he's saying Ranker's Pick is what we do we go and ask what you guys want to hear and give us suggestions on lists that we should create. And then we pick one from the pool of lists that everyone sends us. So yeah, we'll be doing one of those soon.
Awesome.
All
right. So we're ready for number one. So my number one, it's got a lot of green in it. Now I hope you don't give me a hard time, because it's kind of a generic pick, but it's a very meaningful generic pick.
Nice.
Because this particular pick, sort of like Christmas trees, it's something that I have, it's sort of gone with me through my lifetime, and at different times it's meant significant. It has significance at different times of my life. But my number one is the mountains.
Oh yeah.
When I thought of all the green things in the world that are probably, what is my favorite green thing?
Yeah.
Is the mountains.
That's awesome.
Spiritually, I'm drawn to the mountains. I went to school in Dahlonega, Georgia, which is right at the base of the Appalachian Blue Ridge mountain chain. Fell in love with the mountains then. I've always loved going to the mountains. I like getting away to the mountains. I like the feel of the mountains. I like mountain bike riding. It's kind of a new hobby.
There you go.
Dial that up. And I don't know, there's just something about the mountains. And I know a lot of people like the mountains in the fall. So, you got to have spring and summer mountains to have fall mountains. So anyway, my number one is the mountains, for lots of different reasons.
Yeah. Shout out to our hot takes episode, Nick, but me and you are both mountains guys over the beach, right?
In fact.
Which is really funny because Matt lived in Hawaii for like 3 years. So you would think he would be a beach guy, but
no, that's a volcano mountain right there. So
you got to go to Kauai or Maui for the green ones. Well, there's the green ones on Oahu, but you're right. But they're the mountains, there's all kind of different mountains too. I was actually looking at pictures of mountains, and of course you got a lot of green mountains, but you got snow-capped mountains, you got desert mountains. But the green ones I'm partial to.
That's a great pick. You can't go wrong with scenery. But I was gonna say that is true. That I think that was one of the ones that my hot takes was that I like mountains over the beach.
He froze again.
Froze up.
I think I froze there.
Yeah, you did. No, you're good. Say
Okay.
Just start back over with the mountains over beach thing.
They're just better.
Yeah.
Nick, I can't edit that. You have to give me more.
Yeah. I can't. You start saying.
No, look. Okay, the only thing I was gonna say is that I thought it was funny because I thought Matt was like saying all of these like profound things, and that he was like drawn in these different ways, and I thought he was gonna be like, and my number one is mint chocolate chip ice cream or something like that. Like I thought he was setting us up for something that was like. But I did want you to speak a little bit more. We don't have to get like too in the woods for this or whatever, because just on the pod and everything. But I did want you to speak a little bit more. You mentioned like the mountains were like kind of like you were drawn spiritually in that way. Like what, kind of elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, I think as a kid, I participated in some retreats in the mountains, so I guess I just relate to it. But I don't know, there's something about the mountains to me that has always drawn me to God. It's just, they're beautiful. I think probably my time at North Georgia too, just relationships with people, I connect that to the mountains.
You met your wife there.
I met my wife there. We've had great vacations in the mountains. I was thinking about all the things you can do. I mean, you can just being in the mountains, but I mean, just driving through the mountains is enjoyable. Getting in a car and going to the mountains, the waterfalls in the mountains. To me, you're in the mountains when you start to see mountain laurel. That is a particular plant in North Georgia. So when you see the mountain laurel, you're in the mountain area. So I don't know. It's just
awesome.
It's a great place.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Again, he set us up there. What he's gonna say when he was talking about, well, I spent as a kid a lot of times just, you said like retreats. I thought you were gonna say rituals. Did a lot of rituals in the mountains, if you know what I mean.
Oh
Like
no,
a
some
lot of
I
different.
spent
moonshine
a
or
lot of time as a
something.
kid running from people in the mountains.
Yeah,
Oh man,
exactly. The mountains, you
Yeah.
can't beat it. It's one of, to me, it's one of
Can't beat
like,
it.
it's one of God's ways of going, by the way, I'm awesome. Here you go.
Yeah,
Here's what I want to show
absolutely.
you. It's
That
cool. So
was the route I was thinking, that like
yeah.
they have an awesome way of humbling,
Yeah.
us, and it relates to just, how beautiful God's creation is, and saying, hey man, look what I can do, just breathe. I think
The-
that's maybe what you were trying to get at. The spiritual thing is that like
Yeah.
you just feel like you can take a breath and breathe when you look out over mountains. Nothing beats it. I'm right there with
Well,
you.
when I was a teenager, my stepbrother and I, we went to a retreat camp, and we did it for like 3 years, and we actually hiked the Appalachian Trail, and we did it.
All
I
the
think
way?
no, we did about 26 miles of it,
Wow.
and we ended up at Jack
Wow.
River Falls, and we just had a great experience, in that adventure.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's probably drawn me back, just having that experience.
Yeah.
And again, college, and going driving to Dollywood.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many good things. The list is
yeah.
endless.
You guys have been on a lot of trips together. I'm kind of jealous. Disney
We-
World, Dollywood, like what's next?
Well, a lot of these too, he's referring to even before me and Maddie got married. I mean, they were big amused. Like they did a lot of Disney trips and stuff. And so I think I love Disney, but every time I'm driving towards Florida, which is one of my least favorite places on the planet,
right about where I live.
I know I'm driving away from the mountains, which is tough. The mountains are my number one. I'm about to get to my number one, but I will say that like the mountains.
I thought you said the mountains are my number one. I was like,
no, they aren't. Sorry. It's like, dang it. But I will say, I remember like when me and Maddie talked about where we wanted to have our honeymoon, and we wanted to save like a really big, expensive like traveling trip for another like an anniversary, but for our honeymoon we wanted to, and that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, I want to do the mountains, and so we ended up getting a cabin. We didn't want to go to like Italy or anything like that.
Yeah, that's lame. Yeah.
Did you pick up any Italian while you were down there, brother?
Yeah, dude. Grazie's thank you. Obviously, we learned that real quick.
You're gonna tell me the most common foreign word in between all languages? That's the only one you picked up.
Pretty much. Well, it's because most people speak like broken English over there. So like I was able to speak English, and 9 out of 10 people understood what I was saying, So
I know that's a lot of foreign schools
they teach in Europe. They
teach
teach English as like a main class in school. Yeah. So most European countries that you go to, you're going to encounter people who speak English, especially if they're in like a customer service role. They tend to speak English.
One of the hardest languages to learn. Fun fact: English is what I've heard. Apparently, we are not. It's not super easy because of all of our theirs and wheres and stuff.
Yeah.
But let me go ahead and get to my number one, because it is not as profound as the mountains and Matt's connection to the mountains. This is no surprise if you know me, but I'm a big superhero guy, and who's the greatest green superhero of all time? It is the Hulk. My number one is the Incredible Hulk, and so
I alluded to him earlier.
My favorite. I don't want to get too like DC, Marvel, or whatever. My favorite, if I have to pick one hero out of every, it's Batman. That's who I'm going with. But as far as Marvel, and as far as a quote unquote, if you want to get really technical, a superhero, meaning a hero that has superpowers, Hulk is number one for me. Always has been. I have in my office. I'm a grown man. I have in my office just for the record, I have this, like, I got it at like Hobby Lobby, or I think it was a gift. I think my mom might have got it for me, but it's a J, and it's your name's old, Jacob. Right? Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
It's old like Hulk comics that make up this J, and I have it like on my desk or whatever. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of
I've seen it.
It's kind of cool. You've never been in my office?
Yeah, I have. I've been in your office a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
in the little like middle house. where there's no air conditioning.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I forgot. Maybe you have seen it, but
okay,
growing up, I think I moved a lot as a kid, but I think in every room that I've ever had growing up, there was some kind of Hulk, kind of something on the wall or a bedspread, or I was Hulk for Halloween like 3 or 4 times. Hulk has just always been a big character. I love
literally. Sorry.
Big Hulk guy.
Big Hulk guy.
But I love the chaotic nature of the character. I love that it's this kind of puny sort of man who's like a scientist, and then he turns into this raging monster. But I love the depth of the character and stuff. But I also love when he's just running around knocking stuff down. But not super jazzed about the way the MCU has handled him the past couple of years lately. I won't get into my frustration. I'm not a big fan of Smart Hulk. I'll just say that, but that does have precedent in the comics or whatever. But I'm more of a big fan of the like illiterate, like he can't talk, like just a monster type of Hulk but is also who's part of the team. I'll say my favorite.
So you like Ragnarok?
I like Ragnarok, but I think my favorite depiction of the Hulk is probably the Avengers movie, the first Avengers movie. I like that. Because he's not really to the point where he can talk, but he is part of the team and stuff. And so anyway, Hulk is my favorite. It's one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. When it comes to green, he's number 1 for me. So yeah, the Hulk.
That's great.
So I grew up, the original Hulk show, Lou Ferrigno. Growing up watching, that was one of my probably top 2 or 3 shows growing up. You had the A-Team.
Yes.
You had the Hulk, or Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk, and I didn't miss too many episodes of that. It was an awesome show.
Yeah. So would you change your pick?
No. I knew the Hulk was going to show up. I had a feeling that was going to pop in. I did think about the Hulk, but for me, he just wasn't one of my favorites. But I would say maybe an honorable mention in terms of a character would be the Lou Ferrigno Hulk. In terms of childhood, definitely a connection there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, Nick, what's your number 1? Let's hear it. Here we go.
I'll go ahead and get into my number 1.
For the Steve
So
Kerr
much
pick.
much like Matt in many ways, my pick definitely has a lot of I guess nostalgia, but in a way like I always have remembered this pick. It's always been part of my life and something that I've always loved and looked forward to, especially through my childhood, and that's mint chocolate chip ice cream.
No, you're joking right now.
I am 100% not joking.
I have never. Your number 1 is not mint chocolate ice cream.
It is mint chocolate chip ice cream. Yes.
Oh my god.
Dude, why are you surprised?
I was just about to give you a compliment and say I've never seen you sell something that well, because I thought you were joking, but you're being dead serious.
I'm being dead serious, dude. Number 1 is mint chocolate chip ice cream.
You're killing me, dude. Let me hear it.
I thought about putting mint chocolate chip ice cream not in the list, and then I was like, it's gonna make my list. And then the more I did it, I was like, it's gonna be my number 1, because mint chocolate chip has been my favorite ice cream my whole life. Somebody kind of hurt me a little bit recently in saying that, like, why do you like eating toothpaste? And that really crushed my soul.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Once I can get that out of my head, man, mint chocolate chip ice cream is my favorite, and I have no shame of putting that at number 1.
So going to DQ on a late night snack run, there's no question.
There's no question.
It's always going to be mint.
Yeah, do you that, or maybe Reese's, but always going to be mint.
Do you like the classic mint, just the mint chocolate chips, or do you like when they throw like Oreos in there, like fudge? Are you down with those different combinations?
I like the classic. The fudge isn't too bad. I'm not a huge fan of the Oreo mint chocolate chip one. Not a huge fan of that.
Thin mint
guy?
I
have like brownie. What?
Thin mint guy?
Big mint guy. Thin mint guy?
Thin mint guy.
Thin mints, yes. You're like big mint guy?
Big mint guy.
Thin mints are awesome, yes.
Oh man, we just got our newest tagline to the show. Big mint guy.
Big mint guy. But yeah, mint chocolate chip is number 1 for me. And I did it for you, man. I knew you'd love this pick.
We could not have had 3 different number ones.
Because when you made a joke about him saying that, I
cannot
was like,
believe
I'm
that.
so excited for my pick.
Out of all things for me to pick in that joke, I cannot believe that I picked your number 1. That's hilarious.
You did, dude.
Oh my gosh, dude. We're just the synergy here.
Oh yeah, dude.
Insane.
The banter is next level.
Oh my gosh.
So I know you want to talk about honorable mentions. So I did want to say that I almost put this one into my list. So it's going to be an honorable mention for me because I was going back and forth if he was totally green, but that's the character Elf. Because he does wear.
Yeah.
But I know that like his pants are yellow and like he's not totally green like a character would be like Hulk or something. So like I did debate putting Elf in my list, but other than that, that was what I was working with.
Well, funny fact,
No
actually, really, what's an interesting fact is that the Hulk was initially supposed to be gray, and they had a printing problem when they first created him, and he came out green. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That's how he ended up becoming green. But dude, you've used the Elf card far too many times on this podcast.
That's why
he's shown up in 2 lists already.
That's why I was like, I just gotta put him as an honorable mention. But yeah,
big Hulk guy. Matt, you want to hit us with a couple of your honorable mentions?
Yeah. So it was funny. I was talking to Krista. I was kind of sharing my list, and then it just hit me. I was like, as a kid, the ultimate toy that I grew up with was the green machine. I mean, I don't know if y'all had a green machine. I think they may have gone out of style. They didn't make them by the time y'all were kids, but you probably had a big wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a big wheel. So the green machine, if you don't even know what it is, it was sort of like a big wheel, but it had a big wheel. It had a large wheel in the front, and then it had 2 wheels in the back, but they were wide and they were like joystick controlled.
Yeah.
And you could take this thing, and I would ride that thing in my carport and do figure 8 slides all day long. I don't know how many plastic tires I wore out riding that green machine, but that was my favorite toy probably growing up. It was awesome. And so
that's awesome.
I was thinking green machine. Honestly, the green machine should have been in place of the Clausen pickle. But I'll say it's an honorable mention. So that's mine. That's awesome. Mine.
What a different world we would have been in if
what a different
the green machine. I'll give my main honorable mention just as the one closest to making the list. And again, this is par for the course for me, but the Grand Jedi Master Yoda is incredible. And I would pair.
I thought he was going to be on your list.
I would pair Grogu with that just for the heck of it, because the Mandalorian season 3 episode dropped last Wednesday and I got to watch it, and Grogu is he's just incredible, and he literally doesn't even hardly do anything. It's the only reason my wife will watch the show with me is because she loves how cute Grogu is. But yeah, Yoda is
that's Baby Yoda, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Grogu is Baby Yoda.
For us common people, Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Sorry. No, but Yoda is, he's an incredible character. Obviously, I grew up, on the prequels. So I grew up with CGI Yoda, which I know a lot of people don't love. They love puppet Yoda. Whatever it is, it's the same character. He's just as awesome.
Yeah.
So that was my main honorable mention, almost making it. Probably now that you say it, like Pickles, really? I put him in front of the greatest Jedi. But it's fine, whatever. It's too late now. But yeah, that'd be my main honorable mention.
I think just to add one more to the character list would be Shrek. I highly thought about putting Shrek on my list. And then classic. I almost was that guy and thought about maybe a grass like at Sanford Stadium.
I would have hated you so much for that pick. The grass at Sanford Stadium.
The hedges, man. Between the hedges, bro. I would
have accepted the hedges over the grass. I think the hedges is iconic at Sanford.
I just didn't want to pick like a land, like just a grass or like tree or
the
something.
one blade of grass that was on Stetson Bennett's cleat. That is my number one.
Oh, dude. A hot take. I'm a huge UGA fan, but not the biggest Stetson Bennett fan. Although that's probably not a hot take. I feel like a lot of dogs feel that way.
Tell me this, Nick. How did Stetson Bennett become the most famous UGA player of all time?
I have no idea.
That's what I want to know. We have Herschel Walker, who was awesome, obviously. But he only won. Stetson Bennett won back-to-back championships. That's crazy. He's like 4'9". I don't understand what the heck is going on.
No. Kirby Smart won back-to-back national championships.
You're right.
Bennett was just a piece.
Kirby Smart seems like a solid guy.
He could have done that with like 500 other QBs in the nation. But anyways, I digress.
Okay, so Nick teased it earlier, but this was actually an episode that we were going to do a few weeks back, but we wanted to change something up. And so next week we are going back into our versus episodes. And that is where we take one thing and one of us argues for it and the other argues for another thing, and we pit them up against each other. So we've done Michael Jordan versus LeBron. We've done Parks and Rec versus The Office, two things that are usually compared to each other. Well, these two things are often compared to each other because they are kind of the apex mountain of the gaming world. So we are going to do PlayStation versus Xbox. And so I'm just going to be honest. I've done a lot of research and I don't really know a lot about the back end stuff, but I'm going to destroy you, I think, because Nick is going to be arguing for Xbox. I'm going to be arguing for PlayStation.
All right.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for it. Yeah. I mean, I haven't done as much research as you, but now I need to go do that. So no, I'm just kidding. A lot of mine's probably going to be a little bit emotion based, but
of course it is. Teardrops on My Xbox is Nick's new album coming out. But hey, Matt, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Thank you. This was awesome.
It was fun. Had a good
what
time.
a way.
Had a great time. Thanks for having me.
He will definitely be back. I think he teased a couple of episodes that he could possibly be showing up on, like a golf episode, maybe a little mountain bike kind of thing going on.
There we go.
But we'll definitely be having him back.
Yeah,
some pickles. We know what his number one
is. Maybe a Christmas podcast, because Grinch Christmas trees. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good choice.
All right, we'll figure it out later. We love you, Ranker fam. Thanks for listening.
Yep. See you next time.